In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to understand Monday.com hierarchy. When you first open Monday.com, it can be a little overwhelming because there are a lot of levels and views. Once you understand the basic hierarchy though, everything starts to make sense. Think of it like a structure that goes from big picture all the way down to individual tasks and tiny action items. At the very top, you have workspaces. A workspace is the highest level in Monday.com, and it's used to organize entire departments or major areas of work. For example, you might have a marketing workspace, a sales workspace, or an operations workspace. Each of these is like its own home base for that part of the business. Inside a workspace, you can have multiple boards, and each board will relate to that department's work. Next, we move down to boards. A board is where the real work actually happens. This is where you'll build out a specific project, process, or workflow. For example, inside your marketing workspace, you might have a content calendar board. In sales, you might have a CRM leads board. For HR, maybe a hiring pipeline board. And for product, a product roadmap board. All of your items, your columns, and your automations live on these boards. So you can think of a board as your main canvas for managing a particular process. Inside each board, you'll see groups. Groups are used to organize the items on that board into clear sections or categories. They help you visually separate different types or stages of work. Common examples would be to do, in progress, and completed. Or if you're working with time-based work, you might organize groups by months like January, February, and March. Groups don't change how the items work, but they make it much easier to scan your board and quickly understand what's going on. Within each group, you have items. An item is a single record or task on your board. Each item appears as one row. Depending on the board, that item could represent a customer lead, a project task, or a full marketing campaign. The columns across the board, like status, owner, due date, or priority, all apply to these items. Finally, you have sub-items. Sub-items live under a specific item and break that item into smaller, more manageable steps. So if you have an item called Launch Website, the sub-items might be Design Homepage, Write Content, and Test Checkout. If you don't see sub-items right away, just hover over an item. A small arrow pointing to the right will appear. Click that arrow, and the sub-items will expand below the main item. And that's the Monday.com hierarchy, from workspace to board to group to item and down to sub-item.